Okay, hey guys, and welcome. Today I just want to run through some tips and important Pokemon that I feel will really affect the game as you play in Pokemon Legends. And whether you choose to use that specific Pokemon or not is totally up to you. These are just my suggestions and opinions from the gameplay that I have gone through. I have completed the main story. I'm about at the end game now. Going to push towards whatever is beyond Dialga and Palkia, and there are so many other spoilers that I don't really want to get into. But yeah, it's a massive game. There is it's its own Pokemon game. It's really independent, and I feel it's great. And there are a lot of Pokemon, a lot of unique Pokemon specifically that will be in this game. You have a lot of Hisuian forms, but we also have Pokemon that even without its Hisuian form, is still pretty good. Now, first of all, there is Decidueye, one of the three starters. It is a grass fighting type Pokemon. It has the massive pool of weaknesses, which is the only thing that holds back Decidueye from being, being one of the best Pokemon. If it didn't have such a massive range of weaknesses, it may have held its own in better times. It has pretty good stats. If you get a good Rowlet when you roll for the Pokemon in the game by saving and reloading or whatever. I didn't do any of that. I just tried my luck. I got a modest one, which is the worst nature possible. You want to get an adamant one because the Decidueye relies on its high physical attack. So if you do get a good Decidueye, it's pretty decent. It's similar in terms of its abilities to the Hisuian Liligant, and they're both grass fighting type. But Liligant just has slightly better move pool because it has this Victory Dance, its signature ability that just gives it a massive boost very early on in the fight, especially because of its high speed, and allows it to sort of outstat Decidueye and a lot of other Pokemon. So Decidueye just doesn't seem to do very well as the game goes on, but early on it's a decent Pokemon. Hisuian Typlosion is a really good Pokemon. Fire goes typing, but in this game, because of the fact that you have a lot of Pokemon that have the ability to learn ground moves, and also because you don't really have a lot of levitate Pokemon, ground type moves are very common offensively, even for normal Pokemon like Snorlax, they have ground type moves. Even for massive dragon Pokemon, they have ground type moves, regardless of what type of Pokemon that it is. If it's a big boss, it is most likely going to have at least Bulldoze, which will kill Typlosion, which means Typlosion is very niche in its area, where it specifically can only go in to take out grass Pokemon and maybe some steel Pokemon. Because if the Pokemon does have a rock typing, you gotta be really careful because Stone Edge or Rock Slide will take you out. And then you have Samurott, Water Dark type. Probably the best of the three, if you ask me, in terms of its typing. However, Samurott's move pool and stats do put it behind a few other better water Pokemon. So one thing you do have to remember in this game is that if you talk about dark Pokemon like water dark combination, Samurott is probably the best in terms of its options. But in terms of just the water moves in general, the best water moves in the game are all special type. So if you have a Pokemon that have very high special attack, perhaps Walrein is pretty good because it's also quite tanky. It has a decent special attack. Gyarados is not very good, despite its massive stat pool. Empoleon is probably the best special attacker, so it's probably the best water type Pokemon in the game. But Samurott is pretty good early on. Samurott's going to carry you through most of the game. There is some legendaries towards the end, but I will not really cover the legendaries because all legendaries are good pretty much. It's just how you use them. They are legendaries. So among the three starters, if you ask me, I highly recommend you guys to go for Oshawott, which will become Samurott in the end, which will give you a really good water and dark type Pokemon. Now, to further dive into Samurott's stats, just to give you guys an idea of what Samurott is really capable of, let me just click this. Wait, hang on. Why doesn't it? It doesn't jump me over to the stat part. But anyway, here it is. We have a lot of what do you call this? Attack on Samurott, which is what it is. It's sort of what do you call this? An attack-oriented Pokemon. Among the move pool that it has a lot of special moves that it just can't really use because it's held back by its physical typing. So Aqua Tail is probably its best move, but Ceaseless Edge is a unique ability that it has. It can land a critical hit and it leaves some shell splinters. So this is probably the thing that makes it unique. It's its dark ability, but because of the fact that it's mostly a physical type attacker, it also falls back in the same problem that Gyarados does in this game. So there's just kind of example that I have to give you guys to understand. In this game, not all Pokemon can learn the moves that they previously could in the previous generations. And by doing that, it rebalances some of the meta Pokemon. And also because Pokemon don't have their abilities, it makes them even worse in certain terms. But still, I feel Samurott is still the best starter of the three. But it's debatable. I think Typhlosion is also a really good option because Typhlosion Fire Ghost typing is really good. It's very unique, very niche, and it allows you to also defeat a lot of wild Pokemon because there's a lot of AI Pokemon early on that just use normal moves, and your Ghost typing is going to help you. But by the time you evolve it into Typhlosion, you're pretty much already facing water Pokemon because you're like, I think at like the second or third map where there's a lot of water Pokemon and a lot of ground Pokemon, and Typhlosion doesn't really fare well against those, but Samurott can definitely hold its own until very much into the late game. Luxray is also a pretty decent Pokemon early on for electric type, but you can find better options eventually. You just gotta hang on a little bit against some of the water Pokemon. You won't really face too many water Pokemon early on. So yeah, you can hold on for a bit. None of the bug Pokemon are really that decent. Rapidash is also whatever. Eevee is a really, really useful Pokemon. You can obtain it very early in the game, at the very beginning. And it gives you a variety of options to transform into. If you ask me, the best options for you to transform Eevee into is probably going to be between Espeon, Umbreon, and Sylveon. It's one of these three. If you ask me, among all the evolutions, Sylveon is definitely the best evolution. It gives it very, very powerful. It's a very high special attacker. With very high special defense, it has a very good move pool with Moonblast, Shadow Ball, I believe it's Sacred Fire or something like that. Mystical Fire, sorry, not Sacred Fire, Mystical Fire, which is all very good coverage moves for Sylveon. It's really bulky, it has Calm Mind, and it can really turn fights. Jolteon is ridiculously fast and does very high damage in its moves, but it's very, very soft, and ground types once again will be a threat. Umbreon is really bulky, just like Sylveon, but it's a dark type attacker. You gotta be careful with the fighting type moves options in the game. There's a lot of fighting type Pokemon. Sylveon will handle fighting types. Sylveon will handle dragon types. Sylveon with the fire at the mystical fire can also handle some steel types, grass types. It can tank against water types. It's a really versatile Pokemon. Is excellent, single fairy typing. So I think it's one of those highlighted Pokemon that I really want to inform you guys of. Crobat is a really, really powerful Pokemon. Poison Flying, great stats, absolutely ridiculous stats, but you can't really obtain it that early on unless you really push your Zubat into evolution stages. But you got to find a way to trade to get the items necessary to evolve into Crobat. You can obtain the item from the what do you call this person that's next to the Galaxy Hall, trades evolution items. So you can get it up and you should be able to get your Crobat pretty soon. But it is a very, very powerful poison flying Pokemon. If you're specifically looking for a poison flying Pokemon, like a poison Pokemon that isn't weak to ground, Crobat is the best option. But Crobat does suffer from a lot of other weaknesses, common ones: rock, ice, electric. So you gotta be careful. Watch out for those. Floatzel is a really good water Pokemon early on in the game. If you don't have a water Pokemon, Floatzel really has the stats to boot. It learns some pretty good moves. It is a physical attacker once again, so it struggles in that sense. Um, Golem is another powerful rock and ground Pokemon, but it has a lot of double weaknesses. Not really worth it. I tried out Wyrdeer. Wyrdeer seems decent, just doesn't have the stats to sort of give it that edge. Snorlax is just hands down better. You can skip the Pikachu chain. Alakazam is probably the best Psychic type Pokemon in the game because it's just so fast, it does so much damage, and it can actually tank pretty well as a special defense tanker. which makes Alakazam pretty much a really powerful threat in the game. But I didn't want to go for Alakazam. It's just not the type of Pokemon that I like. I feel he's too soft and doesn't really fit into my team, so I didn't go for it. Infernape just seems to be the king of the fire types in this game. There's really no other Pokemon that can truly challenge it because Infernape has such a good move pool. It has the Rock Slide. It has the Close Combat, Flare Blitz, and you can even learn Nasty Plot, making it just so threatening in the fight. Its speed allows it to often move first, and it also learns this ability called Drain Punch, which is a very versatile fighting type move in the game that allows you to heal yourself after you damage your opponent. It's basically like the fighting type's Giga Drain, which gives it a whole other layer to its ability, making Infernape just so much stronger. Infernape is probably the best fire Pokemon you'll want to sit on in this game, and it'll carry you through and through. The only main weakness is Infernape is obviously a soft Pokemon. So if you're up against a very, very bulky rock Pokemon like Rhyperior or Rhydon, you better be careful because if you can't one-shot it, if you don't have a strong style, close combat, for example, or you're using Drain Punch and you don't have close combat, there's a high chance you're not going to be able to one-shot it, and it may be able to one-shot you in return with either a high horsepower, a Stone Edge. One of those moves will definitely take you out, so you got to be really careful in that sense. Try to protect your Infernape as much as possible, but once unleashed, that monkey is absolutely wild. All of these are just some trash Pokemon along the way. So Scyther had a new form, Kleavor. It's okay, it has good stats, it can do its thing well, it has a good signature move, but Scizor is still a better option. Although Scizor doesn't really shine in this game because there's not really any fairy type for it to fight against, and its bug typing does not really help it against many Pokemon because it's not really any dark types, grass types that you can really threaten. So I had a very powerful Scizor. I actually used an Alpha Scizor. There's no difference between the Alpha Pokemon and the regular Pokemon. That's something to remember in this game. It's just that when you catch the alpha Pokemon, they have certain IVs high at the early points, so you don't have to use many grits on them, like to boost their stats. But other than that, at the end of the game, the stats are going to be the same. There's really no difference. All right. Aside from that, Heracross is whatever, Mr. Mime, whatever. All these can be ignored. Gyarados, as I said, struggles from the fact that the physical water type moves are just not that good. There's no waterfall, so yeah, it doesn't do very well. Gastrodon doesn't have its ability, doesn't do very well. Overquill is whatever. Blissey is pretty powerful early on if you don't know how to fight it. It's just weak to physical moves. Just use a physical fighting move. It's nothing. You can just one-shot it. Roserade is a pretty powerful grass poison type combination Pokemon. And it doesn't have the weakness to Earthquake, to ground moves because of its grass typing. However, there are plenty of other options the opponents can use to wither you down. You're weak to ice, you're weak to flying, you're weak to psychic. So you have to watch out for those. You do have a massive range of weaknesses that you got to be careful for. But if you can cover those, Roserade can be quite terrifying with its poison abilities. So that's pretty much it. The Petilil in this game evolves to Hisuian Liligant, and as I said, it has a signature move known as Victory Dance that makes it super powerful. It gives it a 1-up against a lot of opponents, but it has a lot of weaknesses. The grass typing format is just the only thing that weakens it down, and it's the only reason the grass and fighting type just cannot shine in this game. So yeah, that's about it. And then you have Tangrowth. Tangrowth is a very unique grass Pokemon. It has really great stats. It has a great move pool, but it struggles from one main problem, which is its low defense. It's if I'm not mistaken, its defense is like really bad. It has like I don't know 50 stats or something in its defense. Let's see. Sorry, special defense. Yeah, its special defense is really low. Its defense is fine. It's a really good physical tank. But because its special defense is low, it opens itself to a lot of fire type moves, ice type moves that will just one-shot it. It really doesn't stand a chance because a lot of those are special moves and Tangrowth will not be able to stand in its way. So that's the only reason it falls off as a Pokemon. But yeah. Anyway, then we have Gardevoir. Excellent Pokemon in this game. Psychic Fairy typing is really, really good in this game. There are not many Pokemon that can counter Gardevoir, so it really does have the ability to roam free for the most part. Gardevoir also does not really have a lot of common, what do you call these, weaknesses. The main one being Ghost typing, and it has Steel typing weaknesses to Fairy. These two Pokemon are super rare. Poison typing may also be one of its weaknesses, but doesn't really matter because you're always going to be able to one-shot Poison Pokemon, so you don't really have to worry about it. So yeah, it's very, very versatile, and there's not many Pokemon that can counter it in this game. So Gardevoir does shine. Gallade is another Pokemon that also really shines in this game because there's not many Pokemon that can counter it. Psychic and Fighting type is pretty powerful in this game. So it's also a great Pokemon to pick up if you're looking for either I know a Psychic Pokemon as opposed to Alakazam. I think these two, either of it is fine. You can really pick which one will suit your team and then mix and match them. The rest of these Pokemon are whatever. Hippowdon is okay, decent stats. That's about it. Ursaluna, absolute beast, the best ground type Pokemon in this game. It is a better ground type than Garchomp, who you will find pretty late in the game. Two reasons. One, you can get Ursaring pretty early on. Only difficulty is evolving it to Ursaluna and finding the Peat Block. This quest, I think, can be completed within like 1 to 2 hours. All you gotta do is you gotta hop onto the Ursaluna Mount, and you really gotta go around the map, just what do you call this, digging. And there's a chance that you'll find the peat block. And you can do this way, way before you get a side quest that will give you a peat block for, upon achieving the side quest. But that's pretty late down the line. So the fastest way is just by digging. And I got super lucky. I think I was digging for like less than an hour, and I eventually got a peat block that showed up, and I was able to evolve Ursaring to Ursaluna. If you think that it's difficult to evolve it because you gotta wait for a full moon, not a big deal. Just go to any tent and just sleep until a nightfall and repeat that until eventually it's the night of the full moon. You'll be able to see that the peat block can apply. It's compatible for Ursaluna, and then you can just pop it to evolve it. It's the best ground type Pokemon in the game with the best ground type move, Headlong Rush, which is its signature move. There is no Earthquake in the game, so that makes it the best ground move in the game, period. The only weakness Ursaluna really struggles from is the fact that it has the normal typing, which actually sort of drags it down because it opens it to the fighting type weakness, and fighting type moves are pretty common in this game. So you're gonna have a lot of that in your mind. You already have the ice weakness, you already have the grass weakness, you already have the water weakness because of the ground typing. But now you also have the fighting type weakness, which you really got to be careful of. Especially when you pull Ursaluna out to fight against a Pokemon that you think, right, this Pokemon's weak against ground move, I can totally do this. And then you get hit by a close combat to the face. Advantage, Ursaluna's defense is pretty high, it's really tanky. It will definitely be able to survive close combat before it kills the opponent with Headlong Rush. So yeah, it's an excellent Pokemon. You guys should definitely have it in the team. Goodra is basically a mini version of Dialga. It's the best Dragon type Pokemon in the game that's not a legendary. It's better than Garchomp for sure because Garchomp in this game, as I said, does not have a very powerful ground type move. I think the strongest it has is Bulldoze, which is whatever. So yeah, Goodra is a go-to. Steelix, whatever. Rhyperior is a very, very powerful Pokemon in this game because they've given it an insane move pool. I have no idea why they took such good care of Rhyperior in this game. But even without its passive, its move pool is absolutely terrifying. Look at this. I'm scrolling like for ages, just going out Fire Punch, Ice Punch, Thunder Punch. Then it has what do you call this? These are the tutor moves, right? Yeah. It has no, actually these are not applicable. Wait, hang on. Let me scroll down to I'll move tutors. No, hang on. How do I see the moves of Arceus? Legends Pokedex. Uh, Pokemon Legends Arceus. Okay, I can click that. All right, that's cool. So move, shop, attacks. There we go. This is insane. So we got Fire Punch, Thunder Punch, Ice Punch, Poison, Jab, Rock, Slide, Shadow Claw, Iron Hit. I mean, you name it, Rhyperior has it. The only thing that really pulls it down is its common weaknesses and its low special defense. But its physical defense is really high, and if you go up against a proper matchup, even against a fighting type, you can take it out, you can hold your own, and you can take out the next Pokemon behind it. Rhyperior is absolutely terrifying in this game, so do not sleep on this Pokemon. But you have to find a way to fit it into your team. That's pretty much the only thing. Togekiss is probably the best replacement for Sylveon in the game. You just got to consider the fact that Togekiss opens up the possibility of several other weaknesses, such as Ice weakness, Rock weakness, the Electric weakness because it has the Flying typing. But its Fairy typing does not do it any injustice. It is still a solid Pokemon. Great stats, great defenses, great speed, great special attack, and great move pool, making it just a better replacement to Sylveon. Once you have found a way to sort out its weaknesses, you can put it in the front lines and it'll do work for you. Torterra is a really good grass Pokemon. I mean, this is one lovable Pokemon because it's just a massive land like what do you call this, land carrying beast. Grass and ground typing is pretty good, though it's exposing itself to double ice type weakness, and you may have to play this one close later in the game because you have a lot of Pokemon with a variety of move pool late in the game, and you will definitely come across a bunch of them who can just one shot Torterra if you're not too careful. But Torterra just is pretty good. It has high defenses. It can hold its own in the right place. I just don't really like it because I don't really find its move pool that versatile because it can't really stand up against water Pokemon because they will have an ice move and you gotta be careful. And when you want to use its ground typing against fire Pokemon, you gotta be careful because the grass typing weakness is just a really difficult Pokemon to use. But in the right situation, it may be able to shine. Gengar is really powerful in this game as well. It's just that because it doesn't have the chance to have levitate, it is exposed to the common ground type weakness. The rest of these, okay, Walrein is probably one of the better water types in the game. Right after Empoleon. It has the Blizzard, it has Water Pulse, and it doesn't have Hydro Pump, but it's fine because Water Pulse is going to hit almost all the time. Ice Beam is a really good stat move. Blizzard is a really good stat move. Walrein will be able to carry you through most of the game. Just gotta be watch out for that fighting type weakness, which is very common, as I said before, and the rock typing, which is also common. And Walrein is not the fastest, so it can often get KO'd before it has a chance to act. Hisuian Arcanine does have great typing, offensively, but defensively, absolutely horrible. I decided not to use it. If you guys had a good experience with it, you can let me know, but otherwise, I don't recommend you with it. Machamp is probably the best fighting type Pokemon in the game. Great stats, great offensive abilities, and there are a lot of Pokemon in the game that are weak to its fighting typing, so it's pretty versatile. You can really consider having this Pokemon on your team. If you are not too sure of the type of moves, you can just go for some of its steel type variety, but once you go to the move tutor, you will realize that it can learn almost every elemental punch, giving you a lot of options, so you don't have to worry about the fact that, oh, what if I come across a steel type or a rock type or a ghost type. It doesn't matter, you can just totally go for some fire moves and whatever. No, actually, not a steel type, rock types, and no, not even rock type actually. It's just ghost types that you got to be to watch out for, and you can totally handle ghost types. So yeah, actually, it's not a big deal. Machamp is pretty scary. Dusknoir is pretty tanky. That's about it. Empoleon is probably the best water type Pokemon because of its water type moves. It has Hydro Pump and those sorts of moves, giving it the variety it needs. However, its stats are mediocre, and its Steel typing drags it down against the fighting types and once again the ground type weakness. Fighting and ground types are pretty common in the game, so you want to try to avoid having Pokemon that are weak to fighting and ground. Although it's really difficult to do that considering just how many Pokemon are exposed to those two types of moves. Basculegion is a pretty powerful Pokemon as well, but it suffers from the same problem that Gyarados is, which is it's physical. The female Basculegion is a special attacker, so that may be usable, but its special attack is not that great. Empoleon and Walrein probably do it a little better. Tentacruel is okay. Magmar is okay. Magnezone is really powerful, but again, the ground weakness. Electivire is really powerful despite the ground weakness because of its mono type. It basically is not affected by any other type besides its weakness to ground. And yes, ground moves are pretty common, so you had to be careful using this Pokemon. My Electivire gets KO'd a lot of the time from ground moves, despite my abilities, my effort to try to protect it. So it's a really good Pokemon, probably the best electric Pokemon in the game. Better than Magnezone because it doesn't have the double weakness to ground. but it still can be difficult to use. That's pretty much it. It's a physical attacker too, so it doesn't have Thunderbolt, Thunder, those sorts of things. Magnezone has that, so making Magnezone a better offensive version of Electivire, but defensively just not that good. Garchomp, great Pokemon, great stats, but doesn't have Earthquake, doesn't have the ground moves to boot, doesn't have the strongest dragon moves in this game either, because a lot of the strong dragon moves are special, so Garchomp falls off. Hisuian Electrode is okay, not really that great. Rotom gives you some options, but it's a soft Pokemon. Sneasler is not that good. Fighting Poison is a nice typing, but not that practical. Let's see. The Hisuian Avalugg just has a million weaknesses. Abomasnow does also have a million weaknesses. Zoroark is a very unique typing Pokemon, but just doesn't have the stats to sort of back it up. It is a cool Pokemon and can be used pretty well. So if you guys are, just trying to build a cool looking Pokemon, so Hisuian Zoroark is definitely one to go for. Lucario, everyone knows the value of this Pokemon. Here it does shine quite a bit, but the Earthquake weakness is going to expose it. So you just got to be a little bit careful when using it, but otherwise it's still a great Pokemon. Fighting moves are also super common. It's still weak to fighting type, so just be careful with that. And beyond this is mostly legendary Pokemons, so there's really not much else that I could comment on because all legendaries are good. It really depends on how you use them. So just to sort of recap, I highly recommend you guys go for Pokemons like Infernape, Empoleon or Walrein. Don't go for the physical attacking water types. Uh, don't go for any other grass types besides maybe either Liligant, Roserade, these types. The Gardevoir and Gallade pair are really good. Ursaluna, the best ground type. Hisuian Goodra, the best dragon. Rhyperior, excellent Pokemon. Togekiss, the best fairy, excellent Pokemon. Gengar and Alakazam give you some options as opposed to Gallade and Gardevoir. Machamp is just a good fighting type. Yeah, and that's about it. I think we've covered most of the Pokemon. Magnezone or Electivire. I think Magnezone is probably better if you can handle the ground type weakness. Otherwise, Electivire it is. And that's pretty much it. That covers all the Pokemon that I need to. Yeah, Eevee Evolutions, of course. So I hope you guys have had fun if you have been playing the game, and I hope you guys have a great time if you are yet to pick it up. Pick it up. Have a great time. It's a brilliant game. There is, it does come to a abrupt end a little bit, but there is a bit of an end game that I'm yet to explore. But this is my update for now. This is my opinion of all these Pokemon. I will let you know if I change my mind, but so far I think I know pretty much all there is to it for now. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.